In this video, we are going to take a deep dive into our terminal and use the vocab that we learned in our first video. If you haven't seen the video, go ahead and check it out before you go into this video. Now, for this particular video, this is only for Macs and Mac OSs. If you're inside of a Windows machine or a Linux-based system, then this won't really apply. So I would recommend you take a look at what those command equivalents are, just so you can follow along. But they should be very similar. It's just different commands here and there. So inside of our last video, we take a look at some of the vocab. And let's actually use some of the vocab here so we can take a look and see how we can use those vocab inside of our terminal. To pull up your terminal, go ahead and press Command Space. That will bring up your Spotlight search, and then type in the word terminal. And then with this terminal, I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better. You can see that it comes with a little bit of information already. So this is your terminal window. This is just information based, these two lines, such as when you last open your terminal and all of the other items. But the most important thing here is actually this line here. For the first part here, this is actually the name of your computer. And this might be different of what you see on your screen, because this is very computer-based type of information. For mine, it's called Henry's MacBook. For yours, it might be called something else. And it's followed by these two items here. So this is just the prompt. That is where it starts off here. That is where it starts the command line. And this tilde, that little squiggly, that is where you're located inside of your terminal. That is the equivalence of going into your Finder and navigating to a folder called tilde. We usually call this tilde the root directory. That is where you would eventually start off in all of your sessions and where your system has all of your system files as well as directories. This is followed by the user, and this is the current user that is using the terminal. In my case, the username is my last name, which is Doan. And followed by the user would be the different type of prompt, and is usually denoted by a money sign. In different systems or in different emulators, you can change and customize that, but in most cases, it's denoted as the money sign. And this is where you can begin to start your command execution. And this is followed by your cursor. Your cursor is where you can type in your commands. How the cursor works is works a little bit differently than other cursors you dealt with. It actually follows what you type after instead of what you're currently on. For example, if I type in hello, the cursor is actually after the O. And if you want to move around the cursor, like let's say that I just want to say hi, you can move around with your arrow keys, so left and right. If you try to click on items, it won't actually do anything. It will only highlight. So your mouse actually doesn't work in the terminal. And how you would navigate around is with using your arrow keys, like so, your left and right arrow keys, and also to use the up and down arrows as well. And we'll see how those work here. If we want to delete a message, that is just the delete here. And note, if I want to delete this E, you can't be directly on the E because that will delete the H before it. So that's how the cursor works in the terminal. It actually does it after what you mean to have it. So if I want to delete the E, I have to go after the E. And that is how you would navigate and also delete items if you need to for your commands. So next, let's go into our first command. We need to see where we are inside of our terminal, inside of our system directories. And for this, we can type in the command pwd. pwd. This is a command, and to execute a command, you have to press return. After you execute that command, it will tell you where you are inside of your terminal, inside of your system directory. In this case, I'm in a user called Doan. And this is a little bit difficult to navigate to, but if you go inside of your Finder and click Down, this is where you are inside of your terminal. And it's this particular directory here. So another command that you can do is called ls. This will list out everything inside of your particular directory that you're currently in. So go ahead and press enter, and you can see that these are all of the folders as well as files and applications that are inside of this particular path. And this will also correspond with what we see here. So the first command is to print out where you are. The second command is to list out everything inside of your current directory. The next item of business is that usually you don't want to work in your root directory. This is called your root directory. This is where all of your system directories are and where you can have access to them. Essentially, you would want to go inside of your desktop or your documents and create a folder so you can play around with in there. So you wouldn't want to create folders and files inside of this particular directory. So to go into, let's say, the desktop, you would do cd. cd is called change directory. That's what it stands for, change directory. And this is followed by a directory that you are wanting to go in. And it has to be the same exact name as well as the case. So in our case, let's go into desktop. And be sure to have a space right here, because if you do it with no space, it will think that all of that is one command, and it actually will give you an error. I'll show you what an error will look like. It says command not found. What that means is that when you try to execute this command, it doesn't know what to do. So let's actually try that again. And instead of trying to type everything again, a faster way is if you do your up arrow, you can actually visit your previous commands. So you can visit pwd when we did it back then, ls, or cd desktop. But here, let's go ahead and put a space and then go ahead and press enter. So now we're inside of our desktop. This is the equivalence of going into your system root directory and then clicking on desktop here. And to prove it to you, I'll do our command to list out everything inside of here and see if it matches up inside of my own desktop. So let's go ahead and press ls. And it looks like everything is there. So that is how you navigate inside of a directory. It will be cd and whatever the directory name is. But let's say that we want to go out a directory. To do that is with command here. It will be cd space dot dot. cd space dot dot. What this means is that we are going out one folder, out one directory. And now we're back inside of your root directory. You can see that it changes here where you are inside of your terminal as well as your directory. So cd followed by whatever the directory name is how you navigate in it, and cd space dot dot is how you navigate out of it. So make sure you know how to navigate in and out of directories, because we'll be using that for a lot of these commands and also in your development career. Let's go ahead and cd back into the desktop. Let's create another folder. So this is the equivalence as going into your desktop and right-clicking, pressing new folder here. So I'm going to give a little bit more room. So to do that, you can do clear. That will push everything to the top and give you a clear place to type your commands. But if you still want to see what you did in the past, you can just scroll up. So that is the keyword clear. So now let's go ahead and see how we can make a new folder or a new directory. The command for that is called make dir. So make dir is making a directory. And with this, you are going to have this command followed by whatever you want the folder to be named. In this case, I'm going to do a terminal folder. As you can see here, it created this directory here called terminal folder. And the reason why I did terminal underscore folder is because if you do it like this with a space in between it, actually will create two folders. It'll create one called terminal and one called folder. If you are doing a space when you're making a directory, it will think that you're creating two directories at once. And in this case, we actually don't want that. So a better thing to do is that if you have multiple words inside of your folder name, then you would connect it with some sort of a symbol. In most cases, it will be a dash or underscore. So now let's go ahead and go into our terminal folder. And the command for that is cd. So let's cd into your terminal folder. Now that we're in the terminal folder, we will create a file. To create a file is what this command here called touch. Now there is no particular way you can do this inside of your system. So this is one of the advantages of using the terminal is you're able to create files. So right now inside of this, there are no files or applications. It's just an empty folder. So now that you can see here, after following this command of touch, you can create a file. And this is followed by the name of the file as well as the extension of what the file is. So in this case, let's create an index.html. This is an HTML file. And then this part here at the beginning is the name of the file you want to give it. So when we are saying touch index.html, we're actually creating a file named index, and it's an HTML file. You can see here, it created inside of our terminal folder. You can see what kind of file it is, when it's modified, etc. And that is what you'll be doing for the most part when you are navigating inside of your terminal, is that you will go cd ... to go out of a folder, and then cd in the folder name to go into a folder. And to create certain types of folders or certain types of directories, it's with the make dir command. And with this command, you can follow it by a name of your directory. And if it has two words, make sure that the name is connected by some sort of a symbol. And then after you create a folder, you're able to change the directory into it. And then you're able to go into there, create more additional folders with the same commands, or you can create files with the touch command. And that's what we did so far. If you want additional things that we can do with the terminal, go ahead and check out part 3 and see what else we can do inside of our terminal. Well, I'll see you all next time. Bye.